Hannah Davis, better known by her username Just Pearly Things, is a massive social media personality with nearly 2 million subscribers and almost 500,000 followers on X. She gained this massive audience in 2023 through her participation in the Manosphere, brushing shoulders with the Whatever podcast, Fresh and Fit, and Andrew Tate. She appeared on podcasts to give advice on dating, marriage, and family, despite being single, unwed, and childless. But one topic that she likes to discuss in particular caught my eye: divorce.
You go to, and I know this because I'm doing a divorce documentary. And so I'm actually interviewing men that are in the process of getting like absolutely wrecked by divorce. And a lot of them have had false allegations put out against them.
In fact, she stated repeatedly that she's making a documentary on divorce, even going as far as to post a GoFundMe for it, asking for $100,000. We're going to go through this GoFundMe in detail in a few minutes, but first let's get some background on the divorce documentary. The first mention I can find of the divorce documentary was on Twitter in January of 2023. She's mentioned it in quite a few videos as well. She was demonetized on YouTube and had to remove a large quantity of her content, so unfortunately we are missing some of the information on this topic that was once public. There very well could be something I'm missing here, but it is notable that this is the information that was publicly available at the time of her posting her GoFundMe. So this is the information that would be available to someone deciding whether or not to give her money to fund this documentary. Pearl does not shy away from sharing that her show is having financial difficulties. Again, she was demonetized on YouTube. In fact, she will actually talk about these financial troubles as a reason to plug her website, immediately followed by stating that a subscription will give you early access to the divorce documentary.
Before I start, guys, help me pay Blessing this month. Please sign up at theaudacitynetwork.com. For our monthly or yearly subscriptions. What you're going to get with that is first access to our divorce documentary. Please support the network. Look, we are struggling out here. We have had how many months of no pay, Blessing?
6 months.
6 months.
My job is in danger.
Yeah, so send a couple supers so we can keep Blessing around. Otherwise, he might have to make a video denouncing me just to make money, Right, Blessing?
Yeah, GoFundMe coming soon.
Before we start, please do me a favor and go to theaudacitynetwork.com and sign up for a ideally yearly membership. It's $80. You can have first access to our documentary support. Help me pay Blessing. Help me pay Jeremiah. Help me pay King. Guys, it helps keep the lights on, helps us book in big guests. Otherwise, you can Venmo me just_Pearly Things, PayPal, or Cash App.
She does actually seem to be self-aware of what the problem is here.
My problem is I get so many ideas that I often can't do one really well. And I say, I want to do that and that and that. And I think you guys have seen this because, I've been talking about this divorce documentary for so long. And it's not done. Why? Because I had Pearl Daily. I was going on all these shows in America. I've started dating someone new, so I've spent more, time on that. What else did I do? Oh, Pearl Daily, one-on-one interviews, and all of that stuff. I realized I can't do a million things well.
She's also not shy about acknowledging that the documentary is taking longer than it should. In the 2 years that she's been using the promise of the documentary to get people to subscribe to her website, she's had several different excuses as to why it hasn't happened yet.
I'm curious, before we get into the TikTok thing, are you done doing interviews with your documentary?
No.
Because I would like to share my story about what happened with me. I was divorced in 2005, and it was 12 years of hell.
Yeah.
But I didn't know any better.
Yeah. Maybe email it to me, but we got to stay on topic for the show.
Yes, I
Okay.
understand.
So, which by the way, guys, if you want to donate to a good cause, we have the GoFundMe for our divorce documentary.
Yes, that's a great cause,
in
actually.
the description. We have the right crew now, so we just have to raise the money. So we already have them for the first month. So good. We have a divorce documentary. I just we had some challenges. I don't really want to go through with what happened before. We had some challenges, but I'll tell you now, we have a really, really good team coming in to finish the documentary. And right now they're paid for 2 months, and I need to pay them for 7. It's either 6 or 7. We want to get this documentary out by Mother's Day. So if you want to donate, feel free. We're at like $12,000. If we get to 20, it's like 3 months. 2, 3 months.
You'll also get first access to the documentary, which I can tell you guys why we got delayed if you really want me to sidetrack. I'm going to kill myself. All right. So I'm deep in a stream. I can be a little more honest because what happens is when I talk about my elves, the haters love to clip it and make our videos. And I know I shouldn't care. I don't care. But when I got demonetized, I kept thinking I was going to get back in. So one issue I had was I didn't let people go as quickly as I should have. But you can only go so long with like 10 employees and no income. But I essentially had a documentary editor on staff. And he's a really good guy, but he just had not had experience in a documentary, and neither had I. And so I'll just say we wasted a lot of time and energy and money. And now I have a good editor now. I have one that knows what he's doing. They've done it before. The challenge is one of the people that was in charge of saving backup files of all the interviews we did and everything, put them in one file. So we have now had to spend hours, someone that doesn't work here anymore, hours fixing this, but it's okay. We figured that out. Now I have a new documentary producer in, and I think it's going to be great. They're ones that made What is a Woman, or they were like involved in that project. So, and I just paid the down payment of like the first one to basically take over what we already had and just said, hey, we're having trouble finishing this. Can you help us? All I can do is take what we already have and keep going. So luckily I have all the footage. It's just a matter of like getting it organized in the right way. Yearly membership, you get unlimited chats and you'll get first access to the documentary. If you want to, we're trying to raise money for the documentary. I just put the first deposit down for the new team we just switched to. And it would be nice to get money for the second deposit if we got to like 25K. I'd love to get like 30 people in the live chat on the website. I know it's a little embarrassing. We're starting slow. Sometimes we get to like 12. Then I'll have the money to finish this divorce documentary. The link to that's in the description too. I do have the first edit covered, but so I think it's around $10,000 to $12,000 that we raised for this documentary. If we get the next payment, then I can get a second edit. So right now I have a first edit, and then I'm gonna go back with them. My first step is my documentary. I know you've been hearing about it forever, but when you get demonetized, you have to move countries, and you get, I mean, it's just been a hellhole the last year. When you get you get very swarmed. I had to let go of a ton of, it just became a mess. But we're back on our feet now. It's going really well. So I do see movies being in the future. Hopefully we can bring back non-gynocentric movies. The documentary's going good. I actually just got off the phone. They're going to have a commercial soon for it, but I feel really bad because I've had to keep pushing off this date. But I'd rather give you guys something good than something shitty. The documentary's going good. They're going to get us a commercial for it probably in the next 2 weeks. Sorry for the gaslighting. I know I've said this. You guys just have to take my word. We had to switch teams. It caused a hiccup. Update, we almost have the trailer done for the documentary. So they're making some final edits, but I've shown a couple people and it's pretty sick. Like, it's going to be pretty good. So I'll keep you guys posted if you want to donate to that. Please donate to the GoFundMe.
it's a really good documentary team, but the next thing is like, we have to refilm some stuff. Don't ask. There were some drives that went missing. This move was a pain.
Guys, I'm going to release this trailer soon. We are so close to done. Other announcement, we are casting. Thank you, Brown Eye Star, for the super chat. We are casting for the next round of divorce documentary interviews. So if you guys have a good divorce, well, I guess not a good story, but like a impactful, I'll say, story that happened in your divorce, please send me an email, ideally a short video with 3 things that happened in the story. We're also looking for investors. We need to raise about $100,000 more total. Thank you guys for all the donations. We've been able to take those donations and make a really killer trailer and good base to the documentary. However, people do have to get paid. So we are crowdfunding, and the link to that is also in the description.
Saying that you can't post a video because there's something wrong with the file is the YouTube version of My Dog Ate My Homework, but whatever. In the first mention of a documentary on her channel that is currently public, she explains that she is making a documentary on her red pill journey.
And it's been kind of weird because I've been filming for this documentary, and it's made me go back to a lot of the places like I used to hang out for it. Because this documentary is going to talk about sort of like my journey, I guess, in the red pill, how I became red pill.
The next few mentions of a documentary only mention a documentary on divorce.
We also, if you want, we have a divorce documentary. By signing up for our memberships, you can support our divorce documentary. Please sign up at theaudacitynetwork.com for our monthly or yearly subscriptions. What you're going to get with that is first access to our divorce documentary, $10 a month, $80 a year. And it really would help us support the divorce documentary.
Then she randomly starts saying that the documentary, singular, so one documentary, is going to be on divorce and demonetization.
If you want to support the network, please consider getting the Audacity Network membership. You'll have first access to our documentary that's coming out. We're doing a documentary on divorce and demonetization.
Then she goes back to saying that she is making a documentary on divorce without mention of the demonetization.
Please get the yearly membership, and it also helps support my divorce documentary. We've had to push off a lot of interviews because of that. So, if you can, please sign up.
And then she says that she is making not one, but 2 documentaries, one on divorce and another on demonetization.
I told you guys about my unfinished documentaries that I have been promising you for like 2 years. And the issue was I was trying to do the show. I was trying to do all of these managed talent, and I just could not focus on finishing them because I had so much going on. And I also did everything wrong. I didn't go in with a plan. I didn't go in with a storyline. I just said, let's start interviewing people in these industries and see what we come up with. Bad. Look, there's smart. So I have 2 and I decided to do 2 at the same time. I don't know why you would do that. So I have 2 coming out. The first one's called Demonetized. And it's basically the story of me moving from Chicago to London, starting the show, going on Pierce Morgan, getting demonetized. That's 1. 2 is the divorce documentary. The name, I just recently changed it. It was going to be called Why Men Don't Want to Marry Anymore, but instead I'm going to call it How to Destroy a Man. And it's going to go through the step-by-step steps you can take to destroy a man that are perfectly legal. And just how society in general destroys men. Oh no, hold on. This is my alarm. Dang it, guys. Whatever. I'm going to keep it going. So I got up before it today. So that's the second documentary. We are putting together documentaries and all different types of videos that I would like to do. We're hoping to get our first documentary out in the next couple of months, but it is expensive. So the more signups we can get on the network, the better. You'll have first access to our documentary that's coming out. Do I want to give any insights on the documentary? So this documentary has taken years off my life, really, and Santiago's life too. It tells the story of me going to England, and basically I became famous overnight. I was playing volleyball. I had this silly little YouTube channel on the side. Like, one of my videos just went crazy, like it blew up. And I'm just this random woman playing volleyball in England. So we're telling that story, and then we're telling the story about how we got demonetized. The Tate brothers got thrown in jail. Myron and Fresh got demonetized, and how whenever you talk about men's issues, they censor you, they silence you, and they ruin your life. Now we have Snow White. We have woke Snow White, yay.
When you're working on a project, sometimes it changes as you work on it, so ordinarily this would not be something to mention, but in the context of everything else I'm about to discuss, I just thought I would highlight this. She's mentioned the documentary over 100 times in 2 years, in different videos and on Twitter, and it just never seemed to be coming out. And just when I had lost hope for Pearl's documentary, she posted a GoFundMe just for the reasonable sum of $100,000, okay? Keep in mind that this documentary has already been in production for over 2 years. Just Pearly Things has always been about one thing: bringing light to men's issues. Now, we're bringing you a special documentary on divorce, a topic that affects millions of lives but often gets swept under the rug. This documentary will not only explore the personal and emotional toll of divorce, but it will also shed light on critical men's issues like divorce rape, paternity fraud, and parental alienation, and the often ignored struggles that men face in family courts. Now, for whatever reason, I thought that the divorce rape referred to in this paragraph referred to the horrific crime of marital rape, which, not so fun fact, was actually legal in the UK until 1990. But the reality is much more interesting.
During the year I was interviewing people, or the 2 years, I was working on a divorce documentary. And I interviewed men that were victims of divorce rape. Now, if you don't know what divorce rape is, it's basically men that got screwed over in divorce. Many times they had false accusations, they had lost their kids, it'd been years since they'd seen them. And in the divorce documentary, I have interviewed men that have been victims of divorce. Divorce rape. Now, what is divorce rape? Grape. I'm gonna say, divorce grape. That is when the woman legally steals the children and legally steals the man's assets. In my opinion, this is a modern day slavery, where men are forced to give up their children and their assets and pay a woman for 18 years. To me, that's wrong. The second is, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, don't put them in the YouTube chat because they're communists, okay? Please monetize us, please. But they are communist. Like, I'm just being honest. And that's not against the guidelines. I can call you guys that respectfully. Now, what is divorce rape? That is essentially when women decide that they want to take away a man's children, his assets. Many times they'll leave him homeless.
So, yeah. Technically, if you scroll down to the 4th definition of rape on dictionary.com, it can mean to plunder, violently seize, or abuse. But this verbiage is crazy. It's inflammatory, and it's just not how the general public understands the word rape, specifically in the context of a conversation about interpersonal, intimate relationships like marriage and divorce. When you're setting yourself out to be a professional, a journalist, making a documentary, the words that you use matter, especially in the description of a GoFundMe where you are trying to raise $100,000. I personally find this phrase to be in very poor taste. And it's also not like it's a commonly used word sort of in these divorced men circles. The only instance that I could find of it online is this book with 0 Amazon reviews and pretty fire graphic design, if I do say so myself. Secondly, the GoFundMe doesn't disclose where the documentary will be based. Pearl has lived in both the UK and the US during the production of this documentary, and based off the GoFundMe alone, it's very unclear at this point where the documentary will be focused, which will impact what law or legal system, or legal systems plural, the documentary will be covering, which again would vastly impact the experiences of the men being interviewed. If I was a person donating money, I would want to know whether the legal system being discussed directly interested and impacted me. She did have these pretty funny tweets begging Kanye West to be a guest on the documentary. She's also made these tweets asking Elon Musk, who is notoriously a family man, to be on her documentary. But again, I can't be 100% sure because she's also contradicted herself.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually disgusting what they do in the court system here. I'm doing a documentary on the court system in the UK.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's actually disgusting the more I learn about it. When I was in London, there was a point where I was filming so much, it was crazy. I was so busy because I was working on a divorce documentary. I was also doing all these shows, and I would interview the men that were divorce raped. So they would bring in their pile of papers and they would tell me these awful stories.
I am, of course, assuming here that she will be focusing on a specific country. I don't think a documentary generally on divorce as a concept would be very interesting. Like, hey, men, what do you think of divorce? Oh, it sucked? Well, wow, I never would have guessed. In my opinion, it would be more productive to focus on specific policies or systems which adversely impact men and how they do this so that we can actually make a tangible impact on this issue. But what do I know? Overall, either the documentary will focus on a specific legal system, and this was either deliberately excluded, which is dishonest on a GoFundMe, accidentally excluded, which is just sloppy and speaks to the quality of her journalism. It won't have a specific focus at all, which means her documentary will suck. And the secret fourth option is that just this documentary is just never coming out. The country the documentary will be based on is very basic information that should have been included in this description or should otherwise be publicly available. There is a general issue here of a lack of information about the documentary. There is no official poster, there is no title, there is no trailer here despite her repeated promises. Continuing with the GoFundMe description, how your support will help. Film production. Quality documentaries require top-tier production, cameras, editing, sound, and more. Research and outreach. We're dedicated to making this documentary well-rounded, which means gathering diverse voices and stories to tell the full truth about divorce, family law, and men's issues. Booking guests. We want to feature a wide range of voices, from people who have gone through divorce and custody battles to experts in men's rights and family law. Your donations will help us cover the cost of travel, accommodations, and honorariums for these important guests who will share their valuable insights. Keep the content flowing. With demonetization affecting our revenue, your support helps us continue to create the bold, thought-provoking content you love. Why donate? By supporting this campaign, you're not just funding a documentary. You're supporting a movement for free speech and shedding a light on men's issues. You're helping ensure that voices like ours, voices that handle hard topics without fear or censorship, continue to be heard. This paragraph here casts a bit of doubt as to what the money would actually be used for. This could reasonably be read to mean that the GoFundMe money will be used to fund Pearl's general production costs for her channel while the documentary is being made, especially since she is demonetized on YouTube. Since this has been disclosed, this would not otherwise be an issue, except for the fact that the production of the documentary has already been ongoing for 2 years and there is no sign of the documentary in sight. I'd like to know what portion of the $100,000 would go towards her general production costs for making hours upon hours of content per week in a studio rather than the documentary. Another red flag here is the amount of money that she's asking for. She's asking for $100,000 for this. I'm sorry, I'm calling bullshit. It cannot possibly cost that much. Am I completely deluded as to how much it costs to hire an editor? Like, this is not some crazy like After Effects shit. Like, this is a documentary where she interviews people. Camera A is pointed at Pearl, camera B is pointed at the interviewee, maybe there's camera C with both of them in frame, and you cut back and forth. And this is another thing. Is this a 1 hour documentary, a 3 hour documentary, a 5 hour documentary? Is this a mini series? Like, how long could it possibly take to edit just like a feature length interview-based documentary? Is the editor actually making Pearl's content full-time and like not just the documentary? Again, the point here is that there's a suspicious lack of information about this documentary, especially for something that's been in production for over 2 years. This whole GoFundMe description simultaneously sounds like it was written by ChatGPT, and yet it has typos and it hasn't been updated since the date it was posted. Everything that I've shown you in this video would probably make you think that Pearl needs this money to finish the documentary and that she's destitute, filming her show on a blue Yeti in a cardboard box on the side of a highway. This is not the case.
For our Audacity memberships last show, so as you guys know, the way that we keep the lights on here, because we are demonetized and YouTube and all these crazy ladies try to ruin my life, is we need to get to 3,500 members in order to keep up with our costs as a network. Right now we're at 1,100, which I'm very grateful, and thank you guys so much for getting us to. You guys seriously are the best.
1,100 members at $80 a month is $88,000 a year, not counting merch sales and donations to her via money transfer apps such as Cash App. I could be way off base here, but the excuses that she is giving do not make sense to me. If you can't afford to run your show and 2 documentaries at the same time, then maybe only make 1 documentary. If you can't afford to fly someone in, just do the interview over Zoom. Like, it's been 2 fucking years. Meanwhile, she's been collecting memberships on her website and GoFundMe money on the promise that the documentary is being made. If you can't run a show where you just sit there and talk to the mic and occasionally screen share off $88,000 a year, then something is going wrong. This all leads us to the most important question of the video. Is this intentional? Is she being intentionally vague, like about where the documentary is based, to cast a wide net to get as many members on her website as possible? Is she choosing not to prioritize the release of the documentary, increasing delays to collect a check from as many lonely divorcees who just want to be heard as possible? That may be what you come away from this video thinking. But honestly, I think she's just stupid. I mean, come on. She moved from the US to the UK to play volleyball. The UK's not even good at volleyball. That's like moving from Canada to Afghanistan to play ice hockey. This is not a smart person. In conclusion, I genuinely hope that Pearl's documentary comes out. Based on her past coverage, I think it will be interesting to take a look at and discuss. In the meantime, if you'd like to learn more about how divorce is impacting men, specifically in the UK, I would highly recommend the BBC's Radio 4 Law in Action episode from 2019 titled Abusive Parents, which I will link below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you'd like me to go into Pearl's specific views on divorce, marriage, and relationships, please make sure to leave me a comment to let me know. Bye-bye.
So number 1, you are gay.
I have decided I'm on a warpath.
I'm just letting the world burn now. Burn, bitches. I don't care. I don't care. I've had too many hoes just try to ruin my life.